This is West of Everest. Hey, everyone. I'm Lee Benson, back from my scheduled midweek show appearance. And, of course, over there is Grant Benson. Thank you to everybody out there who's listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you listen to the show. Plus, of course, thanks for watching on YouTube. Feel free to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube. And I got to say thank you to the couple of listeners who got us to the 200 review mark on Apple Podcasts somewhat recently. So that was very cool of you all. All right, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I've yet to give my thoughts on the Texas game, so I guess I'll do that. Maybe I'll break down a play or two. What else? The Big 12 put out a tweet earlier this week that got a lot of people that wear crimson and cream mad. An Oklahoma player is now no longer with the team. And, the Sooners, they need to beat South Carolina this Saturday. We'll talk about that. But first, let's say hello to Grant. Grant, what's going on? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Not much going on here. It's officially fall in Minnesota. It's dreary, it's rainy, it's gross, it's windy, it's cold. And so, I don't know. I guess I'm here to talk about football, about weird vibe this week. I think there's a lot of people who are, it's maybe dawning on them that this trip to Columbia this weekend is kind of like as must win as it possibly gets. There's some other things that have happened in college football in terms of the coaching hot stove that I think, honestly, I think there may be some sort of ricochet effects of that as well. And I don't know, that Texas game last weekend was, we're about to get your thoughts on it, but that was the cliche in a lot of political circles is, at some point in time in your life, you get mugged by reality, and that gets you to change your politics at one point in time. Well, I think maybe some OU fans on Saturday were mugged by reality a little bit in that OU-Texas game. And this game in Columbia this weekend it's their last kind of like very winnable game of the season. I mean, all their games are winnable, but this one is this is their last where you can comfortably say they should win this game. Like it would be a fairly large, not like a large upset, but it's fully within their capabilities. They can play poorly and still win this game. I don't think that's the case for their other 5 games on the schedule. So it's I don't know, feeling some fire under the butt a little bit, just a little.
So I gotta say, you how do you feel about being basically correct about everything that happened in the OU Texas game? I mean, I was listening back to our show from last week, and essentially everything that you said, all the alarm bells you sounded, played out that way. And it's just, yeah, cool. It's just that game. Were you thinking about that? You guys didn't really talk about that on by the way, thanks to Brady again for filling in to me.
There's no spiking the football like on this end about that. Like it's OU Texas. I don't ever want to be right about that. Like when I'm skeptical. And so that's why, and I had said it to Brady while we were recording, was that, I even I had fully emotionally prepared myself for OU to lose that game. I think you guys could maybe tell by my tone and the fact that I didn't pick the game at all. Typically when that happens, that means I think OU's going to lose. And I'll be honest with you, like the only reason why I thought they were going to lose is because they were underdogs. And I was just like, part of me was like, what am I missing? What am I not seeing here? And so I was trying my best to kind of just like see what I wasn't seeing or trying to find out what I wasn't seeing there. And I'd prepared myself for them to lose, but I was still just really bitterly disappointed watching the game. Expecting it and then seeing it actually happen are two totally different things. And it's still like I've been doing this And by this, like I said, being an OU fan for the better part of my life, a vast majority of my life now. And that's up there. That's a top 5 most disappointed I think I've been watching an OU game since I started doing this over 25 years ago. It sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't fun to watch, and I want to be consistent because I'm the guy who it's just one game, and it is. And Oklahoma can win this Saturday and bounce back and right a bunch of wrongs, and I mean there's still tons of season left. So that's kind of the way I look. I mean, I still look at it that way. It's just disappointing they played the way they did. I think after rewatching the game and thinking about it, certainly did not take into account enough John Mateer just being rusty and not practicing and not doing anything for 2+ weeks, going against a good defense, a defense that I do think, if you watch back the tape, there were some openings. There were some open guys that Mateer clearly just wasn't ready for. Wasn't ready. Hadn't watched the tape. Wasn't prepared for. The game was too fast for him. Didn't know what to look for, and that's disappointing. He missed a lot of throws, but he misses throws. We see him miss throws. I'm not sure how much the hand really impacted him that much. I think a lot of it was between the ears. Not practicing, not playing, and going into a really difficult environment and just not being ready. And, man, I bet in hindsight, hindsight's 2020, I'd be totally cool with Michael Hawkins just playing that game. I don't think they would have won, but just the fact that Oklahoma could kind of have that mulligan of like, we're still waiting for Mateer to get healthy. Maybe he doesn't get his confidence rattled.
I can understand why you would be there and everything, but now how I think I think their chances of winning that game with Michael Hawkins was around 1%.
They wouldn't have won. I'm just saying in terms of
but now but I think, and this was one of the things that maybe I didn't price into it at all, that it's very possible that Saturday was the first difficult environment John Mateer has ever played in. I think the only because last year probably the loudest atmosphere he played in last year was probably the Apple Cup. That game was played where the Seahawks play.
Didn't they play? They played at Oregon, I thought.
Oh, at Boise.
They played at
Boise. No, they played at Boise. They played at Boise.
Did they not play Oregon? Oh yeah,
Boise. I would bet large sums of money that when OU has the ball in the Cotton Bowl, that it is much harder to hear than it is at Boise. I'd bet a lot of money that is the case, and and also just the, we've both been in that stadium. There's an electricity in that stadium that is impossible to replicate, and so I say that just because let's say just for the sake of argument that they did play Michael Hawkins, they lose the game, they're in the same spot, they're still 5-1, but now you're talking about John Mateer coming back and he's had an extra week of rust maybe, and now he's going to be playing in the most difficult environment that he's ever played in when OU absolutely has to have it. They can't, this is their season. And I know a lot of people think that 9-3 gets them to the playoffs. Until that ever happens, I'm assuming that that most certainly will not happen. They got to go 10-2 to get to the playoff.
Okay, yeah, I take it back. I take back what I said.
Yeah, so I think
even with hindsight, it's good for that he played. He was healthy enough to play. He was bad. He just didn't play well.
He was, and I've only seen sort of the clips that everybody else has seen too about what was missed and whatnot. Otherwise, and I said I'm not gonna go back and watch that game ever again. But he was objectively terrible. He was really bad. I thought that was the case. I mean, from he had that first pick of the game where he had Satania wide open. It could have been a touchdown if he just would have seen him, I guess. But instead he the only time all game he stares down Jaron Kanak. Otherwise Kanak was wide open in the flats the entire game. But
the thing is, he never even considered looking to the left. It's that was so. Even though Satania was open, didn't matter. He had, and that was actually I wanted to show that. That was one of the things I wanted to kind of show and break down because I went back and I did watch for the first time in a while. I listened to all of the Oklahoma breakdown, and that was, I gotta say, I have never heard Gabe Eichert be that critical of the just of the team. That was the most critical I've ever heard Eichert be which was really surprising. And it kind of makes you think, well, that's great, but like, how about you always tell the truth? Because I feel like you say things like during the offseason to make us all try to feel happy about OU. Like, if you always didn't just, anyways, that kind of bothered me because it was like, oh yeah, now here's all this super critical stuff. All right, let's keep that going. Let's keep it flowing. Like, that was actually interesting to listen to, minus all of the in-depth offensive line stuff. I don't find that to be very interesting because he ends up going way too long, and it's like, Gabe, nobody knows what this stuff means, and we're not seeing the video anyways. But I thought it was good, and they did a little in the weeds breakdown of some plays, and a couple of the plays they broke down I thought were kind of bizarre, and it's a good example of how, even though we all kind of have our opinions on what these plays are, even these guys who played the game at a super high level, Teddy Lehman in the NFL, like, even sometimes he will see something different and doesn't even know what the heck the defense was doing, which I think that's a good lesson, that even these guys that know all this stuff, they'll see plays and they're like, I don't even know what that was. So anyways, I do want to show that and break that down at some point.
On that note, I have zero interest in anyone breaking down the final play of the first half where Mateer just chucks it into the end zone. Like, who cares? It was bad. The whole situation was bad. I don't care whose fault it was. Like, it doesn't matter. The play had a 0% chance of working. I like, no matter whose fault it was. It doesn't matter. What mattered was the sequence that got them into that position. Like I said, they got the ball with 4.5 minutes to go in the first half there. And I mean, it was maybe it's like, I think that drive, that sequence is sort of like the poster child of how I feel about the entire game, because I think really for the first time all year, we saw the first 3 years of a Vinny coach team show up in that moment. And then the rest of the game, that was essentially the 2024 team, the rest of the game. That's really disappointing. It's really disappointing. I don't care what anyone says. The whole, like, that drive at the end of the first half, that was 100% on Brent Venables, 100% on him. And so that very obviously has not gotten better. He has not gotten better in that regard. What was he doing during that whole situation?
What I don't understand is, I mean, he's proven to not really seem to want to care or do anything about the offense, or really, but yet, does he have control over these drives of, like, hey, because I know he said after the game, like, we didn't want to have Texas get the ball back. We wanted to leave no time for Texas to get the ball back. But so you got the ball with 4 minutes to go.
With
like,
Texas's
let Ben Arbuckle
bad
call
offense,
his plays.
Really,
Exactly.
You're scared of Texas's bad offense getting the ball back.
Exactly. Like, I understand he doesn't want to give Texas the ball because then Texas can go down if they score, and then they get the ball to start the second half as well. I understand that. But Brent Venables, you should have lots of confidence in your really good defense, who had been playing pretty well up to that point.
So if Texas gets the ball back, it's going to be on the other side of the 2-minute warning. And so in order for Texas to move the ball down the field, they're going to have to do the exact thing that your defense wants them to do, which is Arch Manning taking the snap in the shotgun and having to sit in a pocket and wait for guys to get deep downfield while your supposedly best pass rush in college football tees off on them. In that, I would love them to get the ball back in that scenario.
Yeah, so if that's the case, and Venables did really put it on Arbuckle, like, hey, we drain the clock down to where we want to score, obviously, but we want to leave basically no time left, then that definitely, if that's what happened, that handcuffs Ben Arbuckle, no doubt about it.
But it shouldn't, though, because, like, okay, whatever, get an explosive, get inside the 10-yard line, and then sit on the ball. It's that whole thing is indefensible. I don't care what anyone says. They just flubbed that. And
nobody's defending it. It was bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre.
I put it in my notes, like after Mateer hit Deion Burks for a first down on a nice little tight window slant. After that, I have no idea what was going on. There was like 1:07 to go, and there was just zero urgency the rest of the way. And then all the time ticking down before they called timeout finally, where they wasted 20 seconds or so before they called timeout with 10 seconds left. Yeah, I mean, it's already been done. I mean, I'm late to the game on this. I understand that. But, yeah, I mean, it's just the whole time it was just really weird. And then that play call, and then that play call, like not even getting a field goal attempt out of it is.
It's like, what are they even doing? Like a situation like that, they're trying to score from 37 yards out or whatever with 10 seconds to go. Like, what?
Well, and the reason why that final play is actually interesting to break down is because of what Deion Burks was doing, which we have no idea. I mean, he's running a deep over. I don't know why he stops his route though. And that was.
I don't either, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't and I know that Teddy was saying that they were even there, whatever. No, Muhammad was back. He was going to be there to cover that. Like, that's not.
No, yeah, that's the thing I wanted to talk because Teddy and Gabe had different interpretations of that play, and I mean, all due respect, I thought Teddy's breakdown of it was ridiculous. Like, no, like it's an over route. Mateer didn't see the corner. He didn't see the backside corner. Like, I don't think that they're going to be expecting Burks to read the backside corner and cut his route inside or short or shallow. That's just too much going on. No, you're running a deep over. And that's what Gabe Eichert saw. And I agree with Gabe on that. And that's why it's bizarre that Burks cut his route off, because the fact that Mateer threw the ball where he threw it shows you that it was just a deep over route. Like, that's why Mateer threw it there. And at worst, hopefully, the worst possible situation that could have been is an incomplete pass. And there's a second left to kick a field goal. And hopefully Tate Sandell, who was the MVP of the game, Tate Sandell or Taylor Wine, would have made it. But that was just weird. And
it was weird. I just, like, you don't. And I was like, I was really frustrated watching that live. And it was just because in 10 seconds left, I was like, all right, well, I guess you go. I guess they didn't have any timeouts left, did they? So, gosh,
No.
what? That was so bungled. I mean, how about all of this? I guess nobody ever followed up because, like, didn't like somebody ask, like, in the spring or something like that, are you going to hire someone like Notre Dame has to make all of these decisions for you? And, like, I thought Venables kind of, like, alluded to that, like, yeah, we're taking care of that. I guess, yeah, so much for that. That was clearly not a thing. So,
well, again, I mean, if Venables hamstrung or put the handcuffs on Arbuckle, because so far Arbuckle and his game management and stuff, like, think of all the really great drives we've seen from OU in certain, like, really important situations. I think he's pretty good, but I mean, again, it's just a theory, but if we do know that Venables did say he wanted to prevent Texas from getting the ball back, and so that if that impacted how Ben Arbuckle called that drive, then that's not good. You got to let the guy call plays, man. You're the head coach. Let the offensive coordinator that you hired and paid a lot of money to and is trying to save your job essentially. Let him call plays. Let him and Ben, John Mateer do things, and it didn't happen that way. So that was not great. So let's. Some things about the game, like, I mean, yeah, the defense in the first half played pretty well. Obviously, there was a couple of big plays that were bad. In the second half, the third quarter was crazy. I mean, everyone's beating it like a dead horse. What's the saying? Beating a dead horse with how many plays Texas ran in the third quarter versus how many plays OU did. Yeah, I mean, that's OU's defense could not get off the field when they needed to. Yes, OU lost the game, 23-6. They turned it over 3 times. Like, everyone's talking about the turnover margin. Like, oh, man, they turned it over. And Brady pointed this out. Texas didn't score off any of the turnovers. OU turned it over 3 times. Texas didn't score off any of them. Texas misses 2 field goals. Not 1, 2 field goals. And still win the game by multiple scores.
I think it should be that they were long field goals, and college kickers should always miss those.
Okay.
But that was another thing, too, where there's all, like, Texas missed 2 field goals in an OU Texas game, and OU still lost by 17.
So that's my point. The turnovers didn't. I mean, they hurt them, but they didn't hurt them as much as they could have. I mean, Texas didn't really take advantage of it. And then how about this? I was going, like, when OU got the ball for the first time, the only time in the third quarter, at that point, they were 6 of 7 on third down, and yet trailed. We're down 10-6. And they didn't convert a third down the rest of the game. They were 0 for 10 the rest of the game. So OU did not convert a third down in the entire second half.
Yeah, it was almost like a bizarro world. It was just a tale of two halves where both teams just sort of flipped-flop sides on the side, except when it was Texas's turn to be really good on third down in the second half, they just made way more of their successful plays than OU did. That was essentially the game. But the thing that bugs me, and this is the reason why, and I there's some people have bristled at me and Brady both saying that they lost the game because of the defense. Like, I mean, the offense was really bad too. But the reason why I say that is because Texas going into that game had not shown any sort of ability to be good in the areas that they were good going into that game. And not just against Ohio State and Florida, but also against UTEP and San Jose State. And so Texas got right on the things that they're terrible at. And they just so also happened to be the things that OU's defense was really, really good at too. OU was by far and away the best third down defense, not in the SEC, in college football going into that game. Texas was in the bottom quartile of the SEC in third down offense going into that game. Texas has 7 consecutive third down conversions in the second half.
It's
come
not
on,
good, man.
That's a failure. That's and I get it. You look at the box score and you can easily say, yeah, OU's defense played really well. 12 tackles for a loss. Man, I don't care. You let them stay on the field 7 consecutive times on third down against a bad offense. You did not play well.
It's not a bad offense. Texas' offense is not bad. I think it's like it clearly is not bad. If it was bad, Oklahoma would have dominated on it. And their offensive line's not nearly as bad as everyone says it is. It's all situation. They can get going. And Oklahoma's offensive line's not as bad as everyone says it is either. Oklahoma's offensive line can get going, and that's just the way football works.
OU's offensive line is as bad as everyone says, blocking up the run. Blocking up the pass. OU's offensive line is good to very good this year, and I thought they were, for the most part, pretty good against Texas too. I don't know. You're right that Texas's offense probably not as bad as like the rhetoric made it out to be, but it shouldn't matter. Their offense is not as good as Michigan's. It's just not. It's not as good as it's.
I bet it is.
It's probably most similar to Auburn's offense.
I mean, Sark is always going to make that offense a lot better than it could be, because he's a really good play caller, and it's just he's sure, I guess, but Texas's game, like what Texas had success with in the second half, was literally just running outside zone, and then Arch just made the throws that he needed to in the biggest moments. There wasn't Texas didn't call any great play calls in that game or anything like that. What Texas had success with in the second half, they had shown zero ability to do that against anybody with a pulse leading up to that game. That's why it's frustrating. Yeah, but they did it. I mean, clearly they did something right. And, I mean, the thing that Arch is really good at, and it showed up in this game, he's really good at navigating the pocket. Arch is really good in the pocket. He knows how to move away from pressure. He can get out, and John Mateer was awful. His feel for the pocket was just so bad in that game. And he's always a bit frenetic with his feet, and we all know his mechanics are sloppy all the time anyway. So yeah, I feel like an idiot for not taking that into account. But I didn't think he could play that badly. That was horrible. I think, and I won't even show it, but that first pick he threw, to me, that was a situation. Simply, he predetermined the throw pre-snap. He saw that the safety Taff was only 7-8 yards off of Knack, and he figured that Knack was running that go, and he figured it would be a one-on-one. But Texas and Pete Kwiatkowski, they play a bunch of cover 3, man. They were playing cover 3, and once the snap happened and then Mateer got pressured, there was a deep third safety or cornerback there who was just reading the quarterback. And when Mateer just threw it up for grabs, it wasn't a one-on-one between Knack and Taff. The corner was like, oh, I'm just playing my deep third. Oh, this is easy. I'll pick it off. It's almost like it's great whenever you see a defensive back know how to play defensive back and do his job. I wish Oklahoma would play more zone, because I think maybe they would be able to make more of these plays. That's why Texas is able to make those plays, because they're not being tasked with playing all this man coverage. They're just playing a simple deep third. It's easy. And then a quarterback makes a mistake and you pick it off. You don't have your back turned. You're not playing man. That's why that play was an interception. But if Mateer was more prepared, would he have not locked onto Knack right away? Hopefully. Maybe he would have seen that Knack was covered and then scanned backside and seen Satania streaking wide open up the seam for a touchdown. Not touchdown, but a big play. Might have been a touchdown. So
Potential
that's what happened
touchdown.
on that play.
Potential touchdown.
So that, and there was another play, guys. I'll give a credit to Keegan Renault, who I haven't really mentioned him much at all on this show ever, but friendly with him. But he gets all 22s. Good for him. And he pointed out a couple plays where there were some backside posts that were wide open that Mateer just didn't even look at. And I'm sure they were schemed up and designed shot plays that I don't know if just maybe the arm strength wasn't there, maybe his hand was bothering him, or if he just was just didn't see it and didn't want to. I mean, he pushed the ball down the field twice? The pick, and then he threw one super deep shot into double coverage. I had no chance, I want to say, in the first half. But just a really sloppy game. And the touchdown that Texas scored bothered me, made me mad. Just stupid, busted coverage. That was an example whenever Gabe and Teddy they're in the weeds. Both of them are Teddy's I just don't. I don't know what happens here. It's and that's my problem too. Is I look at Brent Venables' defense and his schemes and his coverages, and it's part of why his stuff is so good is that you're I'm not sure what that is, but also I wish it was more defined sometimes.
I think he plays a lot of split coverages, so it's man on one side and it's zone on the other. I think he plays a lot of those.
Yeah, and that can be confusing for secondary players. Clearly, because Kendall Dolby did not get the check.
Trying to think because Nick Saban's big deal was how he teaches his match coverage and what is it I've tried to see I've tried to watch videos of him breaking it down, but it's hard to follow. But his Rip Liz type coverages and everything has everything to do with when you're in man versus when you're in zone. It has everything to do with how the receivers are running their routes and everything. And it takes a lot of prep work, a lot of communication with the guys that you play with. And I think Venables plays a lot of those coverages too. And so yeah, all it takes is just one bust, and there you go.
On 3rd and 8, and it's easy. You give it to him, just guys wide open, and of course Arch is looking that direction.
And I had said this on the post game podcast too. I totally nailed what OU's defensive game plan was going to be going into the game. I thought that they were going to kind of have a mush rush, force Texas to be efficient, and just dink and dunk their way down the field, because they haven't really shown an ability to do that. They've struggled to be efficient. They've struggled, especially in the intermediary. They haven't been able to run the ball on anybody this year. And that's what OU's game plan was, and I think Texas assumed that that's what their game plan was going to be, and they just came out and they were just okay, we're gonna try our absolute best to dink and dunk it. First 3 drives of the game, you saw what that looked like. Didn't look good at all. And then it was the 37-yard Trey Wisner run that unshackled Texas. That got them going. That run doesn't happen, I think OU wins the game. I'm dead serious when I say that. And but there was just something about that. I think that unshackled Texas and their game plan. It's okay, they started to believe and we can do this. And it's a frustrating thing. And I think with the benefit of hindsight, knowing how that second half went especially, they should have gone with the Jackson Arnold game plan. Man across the board, heat Arch's butt up, and just blitz all day. And it's easy to say that with hindsight. But after they, because it wasn't just that first drive of the third quarter. It was Texas's last drive of the second quarter too, where they took up 7 minutes of game time also. And it was a 14-play drive. It's they were kind of starting to figure it out on that one too. And I just kind of after those 2 drives, I wish OU would have been all right, man free across the board. We're going to make them earn it. We're just going to really make them make plays down the field. And they didn't, and Texas took advantage of it.
So I said before the game that we're going to learn a lot about OU secondary in this game, and I don't know if we did. I still don't know if the secondary is any good. There's still too many busts.
Texas doesn't have dynamic receivers. That's the thing.
So,
Their
DeAndre
receivers
Morse seemed dynamic. He was
not really.
Everything.
What? Arch threw for 160 yards on 27 attempts, and
in the sense that he was the only guy that was getting targets. And Oklahoma just was happy to just leave him wide open all the way across the field. It seemed like. There was one play in the first half. It was on the same drive as the Wisner run that I marked. It was a 3rd and 9, and it was on Eli Bowen. And I guess he played and didn't really notice him much. But situation, he's got the flats, And there's a deep safety playing a deep third. One of the rare times Oklahoma's actually playing cover 3. Or actually, no, he's not playing cover 3, but because Bowen would be back playing a deep third. But there's a safety behind Bowen playing a deep third or a deep half. And DeAndre Moore has been the go-to guy for Arch at that point. He ends up going out to the flats. Sammy Omasigo is there along with Eli Bowen to help out with Arch Manning because he's rolling out. And Bowen just lets DeAndre Moore go and out past him. I got in my notes here. Okay, yeah, Bowen's got Moore in front of him. And it's almost like he goes for Arch. And he gets behind him, and it's an easy pitch and catch for Arch, and it's a first down. When you're in the flats and you have a guy out there, you got to sync with the man. That's your man now. You got help with Omasigo coming over for Arch, and it was just like, this is basic zone principles. And they gave up an easy first down. And it's just like, I want Oklahoma to secondary players to just play basic defense. Like, understand their job. And on 3rd and 9, man, and that led to, obviously, they kicked the field goal. Oh, no, that Peyton Bowen had that nice PBU in the end zone, which the more times I watch that, the more I kind of wish he would have caught that.
Pick that off, man. Pick that off.
Like that, the more, he made the play, but the more, I watched like
and
3
that was
or 4
also
times.
that was the first half. That was Texas' first field goal drive.
Yeah, and it was a good play. But let's see. A couple other just kind of random things that have been on my mind of this game. So, and I'll give credit to Eichard. He brought this up on their post-game podcast. First half, maybe the first drive of the game, I think, for OU, when they were moving it pretty well. That little, shallow over route to Deion Burks. Can't make a guy miss. Nobody can make anybody miss. I don't know what it is, man. Like the one time later in the game where he did, it was more on the defender. Like where he caught it, turned around. The defender had a terrible angle. He barely even made contact with Burks. So credit to Burks for turning the right way. But, man, how could you not make the first guy miss when you're supposed to be this super dynamic number 1 receiver? That bothered me.
Yeah, the Deion Burks that we were all kind of sold scores on that play that you're talking about. And I think let's not, because, one of our takes was coming into this season is that until we see otherwise, that Deion Burks is not any good. I don't think that's the case. I think Deion Burks is a nice player, but he's a number 2 guy. He's a number 2 or number 3 guy. He's a nice number 2 or number 3. He is not at all what OU kind of hoped that he would be in terms of, and we said, Satania is the best receiver on this team, and he still is.
I think Satania can make guys miss. Satania can make people miss. He's good with the ball in his hand.
But, yeah, that was disappointing, too. Yeah, the deep over where, gosh, yeah, man, score on that play. He had so much green grass in front of him. He's just not explosive, which is really disappointing after everything that we've heard about him. So, and
you pair that with Oklahoma secondary players missing open field tackles on really huge moments of the game. A couple by Robert Spears-Jennings. It's just veteran guy, and nothing special. Just a running back, just making a guy miss. I
think Trey Wisner is either going to be like a 10-year perennial Pro Bowler, or he's not even going to get a cup of coffee in the league. It's going to be one of those two things. I don't know what it is.
All right, so there's that. Another one, I know that Jaden Ott came up and his one series of the game, and you guys spent some time on that. So my thing is, you're saying, hey, why do you even ask him to block? And my thing is okay, I get your point, but still. By the way, this is another situation. I saw the All-22, and I think Keegan put something out there. This is another knock on Deion Burks. Deion Burks, why are you cutting that inside?
Yeah, I have watched that over.
Where's your vision?
He was certainly supposed to take that to the outside. That's definitely it's a jet sweep. Of course it's supposed to go to the outside.
Yeah, even with Ott not even making contact, just use your eye. Keep going to the outside. There's nobody there. That linebacker that Ott was supposed to block, if you're Deion Burks, even if the guy doesn't get touched, you should be able to beat that guy to the edge.
Because if he takes it outside, Ott is still in Anthony Hill's way. I think Anthony I think Hill probably steamrolls Ott, but that's going to slow him down.
Yeah. And if you're Deion Burks, you're supposed to be the super fast guy. Then you hit the corner, and at worst, you pick up 8 yards, 8 or 9 yards. So that was just weird vision. But my thing is, I don't have a problem with asking a running back to do that because that's like the easiest block ever. Like, I don't care that Anthony Hill's a great player. So what? Just get in front of him and put your hands on him.
No, that's
not that big of a deal.
Anthony Hill's that's the best linebacker in college football.
Your job is to just get in front of him and impede his progress.
That guy's like a
top
top
10. He's not
10.
going to like.
I know, but still, that guy's like a top 10 pick. Like you're
cool, but like it's not hard to just get in front of a guy and make contact with him. If he throws you off of it, so what? At least you made contact with him and blocked him for a second. That's your job. Not even making contact with him. That's weird.
So the only time you run this jet sweep all game, which you know you have a lead block from the running back, you call that when Jaden Ott is out on the field? It's stupid. It's really dumb.
I'm not saying that, like, sure, it's dumb, but also it's not a hard block. It's right there. It's one-on-one. Just freaking block him. Just put your body in front of him. If he shrugs you off, you tried. Like, it's just weird not to even to make contact. It goes back to, like, is this guy even, like, doing this? And then, of course, but the fact that they didn't even pull him right away, they kept him on the field, and then he dropped the pass, and then they pulled him.
I mean, they pulled him because the coaches know that the play is supposed to go to the outside, and all they saw was Deion Burks cutting it inside and getting rocked. Yeah, and maybe. So there's like, whatever. And then, he drops the little screen pass over there, which you catch that, there's a lot of space to operate. A lot.
Maybe. There was a safety coming down in the alley that had a direct shot at him, but can you make him miss? I don't know.
Running back one-on-one with the safety?
You're supposed to make the guy miss.
Trey Wisner made Robert Spears Jennings miss.
Well, and speaking of subbing in and out, it makes me remember we didn't bring this up when we were talking about the end of the first half. They subbed a running back out that allowed Texas to sub as well and burn more time off the clock. Like what was that about? Just really weird situational stuff.
Just bad. It's it's bad game awareness, and it's just a bad game overall. They were outcoached. They were outplayed. It's really disappointing. It was, and I said this on our midweek show that game was way more important to Oklahoma. Way more important. I don't care. And Texas played like it was way more important to them. Mm-hmm. And
it's certainly way more important to Brent Venables.
Yeah, I guess you could argue it's like Texas's season. They win out. They're not going to win out. They got to play Texas A&M. They got to go to Georgia. Like their offense is not just magically fixed. They're not going to.
But what if this game allows them to feel confident and they do win out? Taylor Wine was really good.
Something tells me that their game plan of just crossing their fingers and hoping they can get 3 to 4 yards per carry, like they hadn't been able to do the entire season, just to set up third and manageable, is not really going to fly against the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, I know it's unlikely they're going to win out, but what if they do? Poor game. But again, it's one game.
Taylor Wine was terrific. Taylor Wine's really good. He's really good. He's he was he was tasked to come in, essentially replace Ethan Downs and everything. To me, when I watch him, he's just a more athletic, bendy version of Ethan Downs. Complimentary. I'm being complimentary there. He's good. He's an NFL guy. He's a really good player. He's not huge, but you can tell. He's a good athlete. He moves really well, and he's fun to watch. So I think he's up there. He's up there in the SEC for tackles for loss, kind of leading the conference. So that's great. He's a good player. They got a lot of good players on defense. I wish they wouldn't have allowed a mediocre offense to pants them for 4 consecutive series, thus losing them the game.
And the punt return touchdown. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. You had said on the previous show that I was on with you that you don't remember the last time there was a punt return touchdown in this game. Then it happens. And just a stupid time for it to happen. The punt was a pretty good punt that pinned him on the sideline. and he
just ran
there was
straight.
I don't know what Jaden Hardy was doing. He was like just like a missile, just ran himself out of the play.
That was another thought that I had while watching that game is I'm seeing far too much Jaden Hardy on the field for a game of this magnitude. I played way too much.
Well, he on the one where R. Mason Thomas had Wisner in the hole, and I mean, it would have been he would have had a lot of strength to bring him down. Hardy was also there, kind of just coming in. That he had an angle too, and I don't know what he was doing. He was just like aimlessly wandering in.
Oh, Hardy was on the field on that one on the most important play of the game. Hardy was on the field. Sweet.
Yeah, he was
awesome. Love it.
He was the next guy that had a chance.
Saw a lot of Michael Boganowski too, and I was like, why? Why are you not just going with your frontline guys?
When you see RSJ missing open field tackles, you're like, well, crap.
Yeah,
that's the guy we went out there.
Fair.
And he's struggling. I mean, hey, Peyton Bowen's playing well.
Yeah, Peyton Bowen's really good. He's their best defensive back, I think, pretty clearly.
And, I mean, they didn't really ever go after Gentry Williams the entire game. It was all everything on the outside was always toward Eli Bowen.
They didn't really go after anybody because that's not what their game plan was. They're just
all right. Well,
Arch's two most explosive passing plays of the game were the little dump off to Wisner, which should have been a gain of a yard or two because RSJ should have tackled Wisner, and the throw to Livingstone on the sideline. That was a great throw. I mean, that was probably the best offensive play of the game for either side. Just that's one where you tip your cap, and that's where where it's just like Texas hadn't been making those plays all season leading up to that, and I guess tip your cap.
Well, now they got to bounce back. He's got to bounce back and not let Texas beat him twice. That's come up a lot in the last few weeks. After Penn State losing to UCLA, after losing to Oregon, now it's time for Oklahoma not to get beat twice. But heck, I mean, South Carolina's a tough place to play. Tough place to play.
You got I don't know. Is that where? No, we're not talking about that yet. What else we got here?
Yeah, we can do a couple other things from the week.
A couple of grab bag items. I also saw the availability report is now available. We can talk about that when we get to South Carolina.
Let's do that. We can do this real quick. I did want to just talk about that tweet that the Big 12 put out that a bunch of OU people got hot and bothered by yesterday on Tuesday. And I guess I probably should bring it up, shouldn't I? Something about reacting to what Brent Venables said.
Well, yeah, Stoya, or I guess you're going to bring it up, but it was a Stoya tweet, and he was just transcribing what Venables was saying during the media availability. But gosh, I got to tell you, I know that this is all, like pretty much all of the other OU podcasts this week have talked about this too. Man, I do not care about this. In fact, I think it's kind of a joke that we're about to talk about it, but...
Well, I haven't listened to any of the other shows, so I wonder if my thoughts are different. But I think it's okay. I got it now. So yeah, I mean, Venables said in his press conference about the SEC being a one-possession league, quote, "This isn't the old Big 12 days where Oklahoma destroys everybody every single week except one game of the year." And then the Big 12 conference quote tweeted it saying, "Coach Venables lost 8 conference games in his 2 seasons in the Big 12," which I think is a really funny tweet. I think it's really funny. And I think if you're a big OU guy and like you're butthurt about that and mad, like you're kind of telling on yourself because guys, yes, I get it. Like what Brent Venables said, yes, is true. I understand that. He ain't the right guy to deliver that message though. If Bob Stoops would have said that, if Lincoln Riley would have said that, Big 12 ain't going to be tweeting that. Brent Venables is under 500 in conference as Oklahoma's head coach. He was 10-8 in the Big 12. And do the math. He's I think he's 3-7 in the SEC. So I think it's kind of a funny tweet. You get mad about it. I think you're telling on yourself because you're really like getting beat up and mad over something it's the wrong messenger.
But also the thing is, like the OU fans like responding to that and being like, well, actually, OU won 14 Big 12. Yes, they did. OU did dominate the Big 12. This is a perfect example of hit dogs holler. You're saying that because it got you in your feels, and it shouldn't. That wasn't an Oklahoma tweet. That was a Brent Venables tweet. That was the whole point of it. The whole point of it was to go after Brent Venables.
Yep.
That's it. It was not
when
going
Brent
after
Venables,
Oklahoma.
And you make a comment like that, referencing Oklahoma and all the success, you're opening yourself up to potential criticism. Even though, like, I'm sure nobody even thought about it, but then obviously the Big 12 kid that does the Twitter thought that would be a funny tweet.
Which it was.
And it is.
And frankly, and like I said, and Brent Venables going 3-6 in the Big 12 in 2022 is a freaking joke. Was a joke. And you open yourself up for stuff like that. So
that's why I think it's interesting, because of the reaction from a lot of OU people that I was frankly just disappointed to see, because that's kind of a funny tweet, and so like you got to tip your cap to them because they know exactly what they're doing, and guess what? Tweet's not wrong. Like it's attacking Brent Venables' mediocrity as a head coach so far, which he's had 2 bad seasons, 1 good season, and so far 1 loss record so far. This has been a good season, but we'll see. There's still 6 games left in the regular season, and the toughest part of the schedule is on deck. So that's why I want to talk about that. The other news and note, I mean, whatever. I mean, Jaden Gibson's not with the team anymore. That just came out today. That's just new news, but he's essentially not been on the team anyways because he's not playing. So good luck to him. He was always a nice guy. I mean, we all...
Yeah, it really sucks. Really sucks. He is the author of the best offensive play in the Brent Venables era. The coolest offensive play. The best offensive play was Nick Anderson's touchdown catch against Texas in 2023. But the coolest offensive play against Iowa State, a game that was already a blowout at the time, but where he just get off me, a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Get off me. It sucks. It sucks that he tore up his knee before the beginning of last season. I think he was, I don't know. I don't think he would have broken out on that offense last year. Although because maybe all they would have had is just throwing him jump balls and stuff. Maybe that would have worked every now and then. Who knows? But so that's one where I'll be rooting for him. I hope he gets healthy. Hope he takes the time over the next 9 months to get healthy, and I hope he goes somewhere that has a good offensive system and chucks that pigskin around like it's nobody's business. So. But also, I'm not sure whenever it was reported that it was like a patella tendon tear or whatever. I was looking into that, and essentially patella tendon tears are what ACLs used to be like 30 years ago, which is it has a very good chance of ending your career.
That's not good. All right, availability report. You got it? What's it look like?
Yeah, but I'll go ahead and just throw this up here.
So the big one, there's probably lots of big ones, but Derek Simmons, I mean, him not being available for much of that game was not great.
He is not on the availability report, so he will be playing this week.
That's a good net. Okay, it's a good sign.
Yeah, but we're back to Keontae Lewis is doubtful, so he plays for OU Texas, and he's back to being doubtful. I think Cade McIntyre and Logan Howland both were doubtful on the first one, I think, last week, and then were in the out the day after, I believe. And then Javonte Barnes, he's questionable. Although I saw somewhere, I can't remember if it was reported accurately or whatever, but I think Venables may have said in the post-game that Barnes, I guess, got banged up in the pregame, against Texas. So,
and that was interesting because like Eichert and Lehman had no idea why he wasn't playing. They were speculating if he's going to redshirt or something. So they didn't even know about him, about Barnes being unavailable, and they're Gabe's on the sideline, and they're anyways. Thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but also Barnes weirdly didn't play against Kent State either. So
so maybe it's not true.
Yeah, there was no talk about him being hurt for that. So I don't know, but. Yeah, it's still. I mean, they're still at the spot where it's nice that it looks like Simmons is going to play, but he's still not 100%. He's still banged up. With Logan Howland being doubtful, that means that they essentially just have one extra offensive lineman. It's Baklenko, which that's not a good bit. They're not, and so we said this, or I said this, but they haven't been as snake bit with injuries this year, but they're every bit as injured on the offensive line this year as they were last year. That has not gotten better at all. So I don't know what you do, but just shrug your shoulders.
Maybe it is time for just some change everywhere.
Yeah,
I stale.
I think it's so. Yeah, I'm the people who are saying fire Biedenbow, whatever. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think I would have been totally fine if they did it last November. In fact, it's
just cleaned house.
Very easy to say now. They should have totally cleaned house on offense. Everybody. That includes Emmett Jones, who wasn't there for very long. But and you know what? I think it's very possible that ultimately costs Brent Venables his job. That he wasn't. It's like he did the hard thing of he fired his buddy Luttrell and he brought in a new guy, but didn't allow the new guy to pick his staff. I think that could potentially be a fatal mistake for one Brent Venables.
All right, it's time for it. It's another game week. OU plays again this weekend. So, do we have a sponsor yet for the Grant's OU opponent superlative, or are we still going with your made up, wonky, fake sponsors?
I don't know why you have to. These aren't fake. These are very real. They're very
Sorry.
real. It's like I have to get him on the phone now and apologize. It's like, hey, he was just kidding. Kidding. But anyway, thank you, Lee. This is the famous Idaho potato OU opponent superlative. Jeez. This upcoming Saturday, your Oklahoma Sooners will travel.
Is that even a brand anymore?
Famous Idaho potatoes? Yeah.
Okay, good.
Come on, just get your butt out of you know what. Stop. Come on. Wait, get your head out of your. This upcoming Saturday, your Oklahoma Sooners will travel to Columbia, South Carolina for the first time ever to take on the Gamecocks at William Bryce Stadium. This will only be the second time ever these two teams have matched up. Last year's 35-9 South Carolina win in Norman being the first ever showdown between these two programs. OU's first ever trip to play a game in the state of South Carolina is not the only unique aspect of the game on Saturday. The Sooners will also be playing their second consecutive game in the backdrop of a state fair. The South Carolina State Fair runs from October 8th through the 19th, and the fairgrounds are located only half a mile from Williams-Brice Stadium. State Fair of South Carolina welcomes on average 400,000 attendees annually, compared to 2.2 million for the Texas State Fair from last week. Historically, Oklahoma has fared extremely well in the week following the annual trek to the Texas State Fair. Since Bob Stoops' first season in 1999, the year ushering in the modern era of OU football, the Sooners are 24-2 following their game against Texas. That includes streaks of 15 consecutive wins between 1999 and 2013, and 9 consecutive wins between 2015 and 2023. The only losses since 1999 are a 31-30 home loss to Kansas State that happened in 2014, and last year's home loss to the aforementioned Gamecocks. In fact, OU has not lost the game following Texas in back-to-back seasons since the 93 and 94 campaigns, over 30 years ago. The last time OU lost a road game following their trip to Dallas, 43 years ago, 1972. Lee, many people are saying that OU lost last week because I skipped the opponent's superlative, so I've officially done my part to try and will the Sooners to victory this weekend. How you feeling about the Gamecocks?
I'm sure Brent Venables is taking notes on some of those historical post-Texas numbers.
And that's 1972 since they've lost a game on the road post-Texas.
Well, and they've already, what was their record? 24-2 or something post-Texas?
24-2 since since Bob Stoops' first season.
So basically Stoops has only lost once post-Texas. Now Venables has lost once.
Yep. Stoops lost once, and they lost 31-30. That was to Kansas State that year. And if you remember that game at all, you'll remember OU missing 2 extra points. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They missed one extra point, and a field goal that was the same length as an extra point. They lost that game by 1 point.
All right. Well, I'll be quite transparent here. I have not had a chance to see a whole lot of in-depth South Carolina video or footage. I'm not the biggest Lenora Sellers fan. A lot of this is based off of what I've seen prior. The highlights I've seen of him this year, he does have a lot of ability. Obviously, his size is great. He's athletic. His arm is actually really strong. It seems like his accuracy is still, it's not as bad as I thought. 64% completion percentage is not great for college, but it's not bad. It's kind of like around where John Mateer is, or at least has been in his career. He's capable of making some really nice throws. Seems like he's taking a lot of sacks this year.
19 of them, to be exact.
Yeah. So maybe we'll learn more about Oklahoma secondary in this game. But overall, though, this South Carolina offense, correct me if I'm wrong, has been pretty bad this year.
Quite bad. 68th in SP+. They are the only team in the SEC that runs the ball worse than our beloved Oklahoma Sooners. So
that is crazy, man.
Can't protect the quarterback. They can't run the ball. They just fired their offensive line coach. All of that would suggest that OU's defense should be able to tee off. But whenever I start feeling that way, especially with Brent Venables as the head coach, I start to get a little bit nervous. So I'm kind of right there with you about Lenora Sellers. To me, when I watch him, he is diet Anthony Richardson, as far as I'm concerned when I watch him play. He is not as good of an athlete as Richardson. He's probably a little bit better of a passer than Richardson. But I don't think he has like the physical ability that Richardson does. So he's a nice player. He's fine. He's a good player. If he was in a better offensive system with better players around him, I think he'd look a lot better. But up to this point, I think this year it's been a pretty big disappointment. He really hadn't even hurt anybody with his legs this year either. Only 117 rush yards coming in. He gets sacked a lot. I mean, how much of a threat with your legs are you if you've been sacked 19 times?
Yeah,
he was quite poor a season ago in Norman. He did not play well in Norman a season ago.
That's right, yeah. Well, okay, it's interesting that statistically they're worse running the ball than Oklahoma, because when I watch the stuff I have watched of them, and I've watched extended highlights from Virginia Tech, Vanderbilt, Missouri, and LSU, and I see their three running backs that they trot out there, Faison, Attaway, and Fuller, and I think all three of them look very capable and look like pretty good players, like better than anybody Oklahoma's got. So, add that to the list of teams where we watch their, and honestly, not even just the running backs. They have a lot of capable wide receivers too that can make plays. And it's kind of shocking that their offense has been as bad as it is.
Yeah, they haven't really moved it on anybody really of any sort of consequence. So, Nick Harbor is the guy who gets most of the headlines on the offensive side of the ball. He came in as a tight end. He is a big 5-star recruit. I think he's
giant.
He's a huge guy, but he came in as a tight end. I think he's just a full-on receiver now. He's explosive. He's only got 13 catches this year, but they've gone for 251 and a touchdown, nearly 20 yards per catch. The other guy is Vendravius Jacobs. He's also been pretty explosive, 20 for 341, 2 touchdowns, 17 average. Those are the only guys really who have done much at all catching the ball this year. Rashul Faison is their starting running back. 231 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaging a little over 4 yards per carry. It's not this is an offense that I think it's very, very unlikely that they get right against Oklahoma this week. If they do have success, it's going to be in the margins. It's going to be like, oh gosh, Oklahoma's offense can't really move the ball, and South Carolina's defense is keeping them down. And then it's 9-6 in the fourth quarter, and we're all frustrated because Lenora Sellers just evaded Taylor Wine and R. Mason Thomas and found a guy down the field on 3rd and 17 or something like that. I kind of feel like that's what success for South Carolina would look like fatal success would look like for South Carolina. Other than that, I think it's one of those games where if South Carolina's not kind of beating you on busted explosive plays, they're really, really going to struggle to move the ball, which is, hey, it's exactly what I said about Texas last week. So Keep that in
Right.
mind.
Yeah, I mean, OU's got to force some turnovers. Sellers will stare guys down. Maybe those RPOs, and they'll stare people down. And OU, I mean, another no turnover game. I mean, they got 2 against the worst team they're going to play all year in Kent State. But I don't know, man. In 5 of your 6 games, you don't force a turnover. Maybe that's just what you are, even if your defense is really good, which is just really sad.
Although what's pretty on that first drive of the first or of the second half last week with R. Mason Thomas sacking Arch for his like a loss of like 8 or 9 or something like that. And they sacked him and it was great and everything. And Arch, it's kind of a minor miracle that he hung on to that ball. That's where I was going with that. It's very shocking that was not a strip sack. How on earth was a flag not thrown on that? Like last I checked, that you are not allowed to hog tie someone around their neck while trying to block them. Like I don't know. Was that a situation where it's like if Arch would have gotten rid of the ball, then they would have thrown the flag? Like I don't know, but like what? And I'm not saying like I'm sure OU got away with some stuff and everything too. I didn't think it was like an egregiously officiated game or anything like that. But I also
it's
thought
just
that
kind
was
of
crazy.
annoying that the refs seemed to miss the block in the back on the punt return touchdown, but they sure didn't miss any of the tight ends for OU holding any of those really big moments. That like the one on Kent, like you could have not thrown the flag there. It didn't really have anything to do with the play. Like it was a hold. It was the right call, but like really, you couldn't just miss that one. And that was on the run where Mateer busted off that run to get into the red zone, and Oklahoma was only down by a touchdown at that point. Anyways,
in the second quarter, I believe it was the drive where OU made their second field goal to go up 6-0, but there was a third down conversion to Carson Kent where Mateer just kind of like had to just like throw it up, and because the defender had his back turned, and it was good. Like it was good throw, good catch, and all of that. But a thing that really stuck in my craw that I was really upset about was that OU caught them on their clap, and Texas was absolutely in the neutral zone when it was snapped, and they didn't throw a flag. Oh. And so I had to throw that out there because it drove me absolutely insane watching it live.
On that same drive, the drive ended with a Tate Sandell field goal, but on 3rd and 10, it was the play where Mateer friggin' bobbled the snap and killed the play. And if not, like Satania was wide open on a slant, would have been for it might have been for a touchdown. Like it's just there was 3 yards, and so that could have been another third down conversion in the first half, but it was not. It just was not meant to be for OU. South Carolina's defense also is
solid.
I mean, but it's not as good as Texas's. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as Michigan's defense. Not as good as Auburn's defense either.
No, definitely not. You have, and I've heard some people kind of like ask the question this week: Is that Texas team? Is that the best defense OU is going to face the rest of the season? Yes, like a million times yes. The only other team that's going to be in the same stratosphere is maybe LSU. But like as far as I'm concerned right now, you have like, and this is kind of what the analytics, what a lot of sort of like the nerd stats bear out. Texas, Ohio State, and Oklahoma are on a different level defensively than virtually everyone else so far through the first 6 games of the season. There are other good defenses, but those have been the only 3 defenses this season that have essentially allowed not much at all.
Where's Indiana's defense on that list? They played some good teams, and they've not given up much. What about Texas Tech? Isn't Texas Tech's defense pretty damn good?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Indiana, I think Indiana is 4th in SP Plus on defense right now, but they're still pretty far behind OU, who is 3rd now. Texas is up to 1. Ohio State's 2nd. Ohio State is the best defense I've seen so far this year. But I think with OU, Ohio State, and Texas, you're kind of splitting hairs. Indiana's defense has been terrific. But also I think we can now look at Oregon's offense, maybe now that we've seen Penn State collapse, and Oregon's really good. Like Oregon's probably not going to lose again the rest of the season unless it's a Big Ten championship game scenario or in the playoff. But and also I don't think Illinois' offense is really scaring anybody for the most part. But Indiana's terrific. We haven't even gotten to that part. Indiana's really, really good. They're a legit national title contender, which I think is an incredible story in college football. So, but no, I believe South Carolina's defense is 19th in SP plus, and so they're a good unit. They're not as good as they were a season ago, where they had NFL guys at every single level last year, and include. But they do have Dylan Stewart back. He's got 3.5 sacks. He's got 9 TFL, so he's been really productive. I mean, that's a lot of disruption right there, and so. He's a guy who can wreck plays by himself for sure, and so you would hope that he's a big focal point for the OU offense and how they're game planning everything. They have another guy, Brian Thomas Jr. He's got 5 TFLs, 3 sacks. He's kind of more of like a linebacker, defensive end hybrid, so I classify him as an edge guy. But I mean, teams have had some success on South Carolina moving the ball a little bit this year, but not like a ton. They're a defense that is not going to beat themselves a whole lot. You got to go out there and take it from them. So I think kind of comping them to Auburn is pretty fair for the most part. So it'll be interesting to see how OU attacks them, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see if OU can get right, because it was. Did you see? I'm not sure if you follow the whole, like, what I can't think of his last name, but the Parker guy who tweets out the graph of. Did we really get beat? That badly?
Yeah, I did see that.
See that, and that's like, and I like that, and that's just that graph is just net success rate, and I'm a big success rate guy. Like, I think that says a whole lot, and I will say a lot of the time when I see where OU is on that chart, it never surprises me. This one actually did surprise me quite a bit, and I had to go back and look. But Texas had a 36% success rate on offense in that game. OU had a 35% success rate. So, and it was like OU success rate in the second half was like 15%. So it was, and OU was up over 50% in the first half success rate, and they only scored 6 points. That's yikes. That is yikes.
Yeah. Well, the wild one on that graph for this past week was the Ohio State-Illinois game. Illinois was over Ohio State.
Yeah, that surprised me too.
That was weird. Okay, so all right, what are you thinking? What's going to happen?
Well,
we want to see this game.
I don't know. I mean, you want to talk about? I feel like we should still sort of talk about, like, what does this game mean? Like, what's the? You and I feel like last year we were. Not necessarily alone on an island, but you and I were kind of the first to the party of the they need to move on. I think we were kind of the first ones who got to that point amongst a lot of the people who do this. And so what do you think if OU leaves Columbia on Saturday and they're just bringing home an L? Or is this podcast going to take a turn for where we were kind of at this point last year, really, really quickly?
I don't think it will. I mean, because there's just so many games on their schedule that all it takes is win one of them, and it's like, okay, great. Like, so no, like, back-to-back losses would be bad, but they can still bounce back in the next one. I don't know. I mean, like, it depends on how John Mateer plays.
It depends on what they look like, obviously. I mean, if they just,
I mean, they're not getting rid of Venables mid-season. That ain't happening.
No, I'm not. I don't think it's going to happen. But that's where I wanted to bring up, because when I kind of teased it at the beginning of our show because James Franklin gets fired and everything, and it would be malpractice if Penn State did not take a massive swing at Curt Cignetti. It would just be total malpractice if they didn't. Like, they have to do that. And by firing James Franklin, they are ensuring that they are going to get the first bite at the apple at Curt Cignetti. And so, I don't know, there's some reporting out there that I saw earlier that even if Florida wins this week, that Billy Napier may be out of the job by the end of this weekend at Florida. And I think a lot of that probably has to do of, oh crap, Penn State, who is kind of in our same ballpark and what how much we can spend and kind of where we, our spot in the sport, they're going to go after the guy that we want, Curt Cignetti. So I don't know.
It'd be so fun to be in a position to where you go ahead.
The quicker that you move on, the quicker that your big money donors and the powers that be can start to try to make contact with Curt Cignetti's people.
Yeah, but it's malpractice if Indiana allows that guy to walk out the door. Like, give that guy a blank check.
They can't. I don't think Indiana can.
Why not?
Because I don't think they have the money.
Bloomington, Indiana, I bet they got some money there.
No, they have some money, but then you're talking about diverting funds from your basketball team to your football team. Will they do that?
Yeah, you have to. You can't let that guy leave. You got to do everything you can to keep that guy employed. I mean, and he may be a dude that, who knows, man? Like, he might be like a lifer guy, whereas like they show him, like they took a shot with him, like Indiana hired him, and they're in a big time conference, and if they give him a bunch of money, like he might be a guy where he's like, you know what, I'm loyal, I'm staying. But I don't know, I don't know anything about Curt Cignetti aside from the fact that he's a tremendous college football coach. That guy is awesome.
But most of his roots are in the SEC footprint. So, he was a Saban guy. So he was a Saban guy. So
yeah,
when he was at Alabama, but so it's interesting for sure.
He was born in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I'm not sure if he grew up there, but he played at West Virginia.
West Virginia. But anyway, so I think that's interesting. But I don't know. I mean, this is a massive game. I think this is a must-win game for Brent Venables. And I think I'm going to stick with this. Like I said before the season started that to me the bar this year for Venables, you got to make the playoff. And if you don't make the playoff, it's time to move on. And so in my eyes, until they're like officially eliminated from playoff contention, I think I'll probably hold off on any sort of knee-jerk anything. But I mean, if they lose to South Carolina this week, I mean that's a massive hit. I mean, it's just a big old problem for sure, because those games aren't going to get any easier, and so it'll be interesting to see. Man. But all right, Lee, we'll get officially into offensive side of the ball when John Mateer, the Sooner offense has the ball.
One more note.
You got one more note? Nuh-uh.
One more note, just on how awesome. I'm Wikipedia paging it right now. He was the head coach at Elon before James Madison. And just real quick, it says, at Elon, Cignetti inherited a program with a 4-20 conference record and 6 consecutive losing seasons. In his first year, Elon turned their fortunes around, winning 8 straight games after an opening loss to MAC champion Toledo. Immediately at Elon, the team starts 8-1. The team was ranked as high as 6th nationally and competed against James Madison for the conference championship. Went to the playoffs for the first time since 2009.
That's cool.
That's incredible head coach material. Like, you literally show up and the team is better. Like, that's football. Well, not just football. Other sports can do it too.
I will say, I think it's a hell of a story. The fact that this guy, he's at James Madison. He was at James Madison when they were still FCS, and then they made the transition to FBS, and they were still really good. And I think it's just a great story that Indiana dipped down into James Madison and hired. From a stroke of luck, hired who I think now is pretty clearly the best coach in college football. I think that's a hell of it's a great story. And so you're right. And there's part of me that really does hope that Indiana can hold on to him, because one, that would deprive massive resource-rich programs from getting him, which I think would make it, I don't want to see that guy at a resource-rich program, because that's the next Nick Saban. I don't want that. And so I had somebody, like all my Gopher friends and everything, like when they're saying like, so is they're not sure what to say. Like, that success at Indiana, does that mean that the same thing can happen at a place like Minnesota? And I said, only if they luck out and somehow hire the best coach in college football from the lower levels. And it's a great story.
Yeah.
Like that was that win against Oregon last week. It was decisive, clearly the better team. And it's just like that environment that they went and they did that in, that's just really impressive. So
yeah, I do not want to see that guy at Penn State for obvious reasons. I hate that school, and that would just make like my favorite coach at Penn State.
How much does your hate of Penn State have to do with like James Franklin though?
A lot. And just his style. But I mean, maybe the style would change, but is Penn State going to all of a sudden not get a cake schedule minus like 2 games every year again, though? That's another reason why I hate Penn State, because even though they play in a tough conference, their schedule ends up always being somewhat cakeish, and they can just pad stats against a bunch of weak teams with their weirdly good recruiting classes.
Okay, Mr. Double Standard guy, outside of Indiana playing Oregon this year, I don't know. I mean, not their schedule's easy, but it's kind of cake. They're a 27.5-point favorite this week.
Yeah, it's
Michigan
Indiana.
State.
They haven't. I mean, they've been nothing. They haven't been a perennial power for
ever.
Has Penn State been a perennial power?
Yeah, Penn State has won national titles. They're power.
And
they
also,
got
him at Florida. You pointed that out. You pointed out the Florida thing last week too. Of like, we're going to the swamp. Oh, he's going to the swamp next year, playing against freaking Kurt Signetti as opposed to
can't wait
anybody else like that. I hate the sound of that too.
So, all right, Lee, what do you want to see on offense in Columbia this weekend?
Well, the fact that Mateer's back to practicing full, he just needs to be in more of a rhythm. I want to see John Mateer playing within the scope of the system a lot cleaner and just feel a lot more comfortable. Like, I really don't think his hand is bothering him. I don't. Because he misses throws. He does. So I just want to see him be more comfortable within the offense, not be so – well, I mean, it's a tough place to play, so he's going to get rattled potentially again, but can he make up for it and just know what you're looking for, man? Like, I don't think he knew what he was seeing. He wasn't – it was not good. So obviously I want to see Mateer play more like we saw him play for against Michigan and against Auburn for large portions of the game, especially second half of Auburn where I thought he was terrific. And then other than that, I mean, offensively, just score a bunch of points. Like, I mean, individual guys, like it'd be cool if Giovanni Gibson can have more of a role. We didn't talk about him at all yet. I mean,
Keontae Lewis isn't playing, and it looked like I noticed Giovanni out there like quite a bit.
Yeah,
because Keontae Lewis did not play as much as he typically would. And I saw Giovanni out there quite a bit. So I think it's a pretty good bet if Keontae Lewis doesn't play, which seems like a good bet at this point in time with him being doubtful on the injury report, that we see maybe Giovanni Gibson get his first start in an OU uniform. That'd be nice to see.
Yeah, and I mean, running back wise, we'll see. I mean, clearly it's Torrey Blaylock, and like I wouldn't be surprised if Jay Nod doesn't play anymore.
And
if Devontae Barnes plays, then yeah, it'll be Blaylock and Barnes.
Xavier Robinson's not on the injury report. I know he left last week with that injury. Kind of looked like he was sort of getting into the flow of things a little bit in the second half of that game. So we'll see if it's a Blaylock and Robinson game. What I want to see on the offense, I want to just be a little bit more specific here, because when you mentioned the Oklahoma breakdown earlier about especially how Gabe was critical and everything. The one area that I just really agreed with, and I was just kind of shaking my head yes the entire time listening to it, because this is where I've been ever since 2023, when OU just could not get out of their own way in this regard. And I said it on this podcast this season too. Don't ask your tight ends to block if they suck at it. Don't do it. Don't do it. They asked Austin Stogner to do it the entire year in 2023, and it neutered their run game when it didn't need to be. In that regard,
that was the only thing Stogner can do well, though. He couldn't move. Like, he couldn't catch passes anymore.
Stogner didn't do anything well. He didn't block well either. Like, he was just
but yet they kept playing him. So
I understand that, and that's like I don't like that. If a tight end can't block, all you're doing is just bringing an extra guy into the box. That's all you're doing. And I just call me what it is, but I love spreading teams out to run the ball. Like I think that's the smartest strategy anyway. Even if you do have really good H-backs and tight ends who can block, still think your best choice is to spread everybody out and run it against the light box. And so they had made the comment, they had made the observation that the only success, the very little success OU had running the ball against Texas is when they did exactly that. And so can they finally just get out of their own way? Like, I know you want Jaron Kanak on the field. It's okay. He's a slot receiver. That's what he is. And that's like what the most valuable tight ends are anyway, are slot receivers. So just accept that that's what he is. Keep him on the field anyway. That's okay. But spread teams out and let Torrey Blaylock find some run, like some room to run in the run game. Other than that, I'm right there with you. I'd really like to see John Mateer take care of the ball. And let's cross our fingers that we're not coming on this show on Sunday or Saturday night saying, gosh, I saw a bunch of guys running free again that John Mateer just did not look at. And so I hope we see some improvement there. Lee, on the defensive side of the ball, when Lenoris Sellers and the Gamecock offense has the ball, what do you want to see from the OU defense?
Well, I just better tackling, obviously. This team, like you said, has been bad at running the football. I think they got some athletes back there. Their running backs can make guys miss and stuff. So tackle those guys, but don't let them break out.
But
don't give up these big chunk run plays.
I think their big thing is that they've really struggled to block it up, as evidenced by the 19 sacks allowed, them just firing their offensive line coach. I remember Faison from last year too. He's a nice player.
Yeah, keep Sellers in the pocket. Don't let him break contain. They were awful at that with Arch. Oklahoma's not good at keeping contain. And it's because they're so darn aggressive. And I think that hurt him a few times against Texas. Keep him contained. Get after him. You can sack him. Offense, get out in front, so then it makes him more one-dimensional and let R. Mason Thomas and the gang get after him. So just play better, man. Overall they played fine. They played well against Texas. But, yeah, you got to get off the field. Show off your third down defense pre-Texas and get off the field and get some turnovers too.
The box score says that they played well against Texas, but we watched the game. They were bad in all of the biggest moments of the game, period. And so I don't know what to do with that. But this is pretty limited South Carolina offense. So I'd really like to see OU hold them to a touchdown or less. I'm not saying like overall. I'm just saying only give up one touchdown max. That means they can give up some field goals and stuff too, but keep them out of the end zone more than one time. And I'm curious to see what happens. Just kind of because I like you, I haven't seen a lot of South Carolina this year, but it doesn't take a genius to look at their numbers and see that their top two receivers have only caught 33 passes this year, and both of them combined average about 18.5 yards per reception. It makes me wonder if you have, especially in third and long situations, is if you maybe just have a safety over top both of those guys at all times and just sort of take them away and force Lenoris Sellers to look to his third and his fourth options on third and long. I'm curious if they do something like that because I look at this and I kind of think Sellers escaping with his legs or maybe hitting a guy like Nick Harbor or Vendravius Jacobs sort of like on a not a Hail Mary type thing, but just like a huck it up and see what happens type ball. Kind of feels like that's going to be where potentially OU is susceptible to being beat. So don't allow that to happen situationally if you can stop it. So this is a game where I think you're going to have to lean on your defense, especially against an offense that has just not moved the ball very well this year. The most South Carolina I've watched this season was when they played Virginia Tech in their season opener. I know we had a fantasy football draft during it. I went back and rewatched that game like the first like couple weeks of the season when I'm in full football sicko mode. But I remember thinking like, ugh, South Carolina does not look good offensively, and we kind of know what's happened with Virginia Tech. So, and it was a month and a half ago. So things can change, but hopefully this is a game where OU can lean on their defense for them to win this game. Lee, what do you think?
Yeah, Nick Harbor. sorry, I was saying Nick Harbor, and he's so big, he could definitely moss some guys. And I'm not scared. That's too strong of a word, but their tight end Dingle, he's also a big dude, and I feel like Oklahoma can be susceptible against the tight end, especially
over the
how
middle of
big
the
he
field.
is.
That's always been Brent Venables' thing. Guys running free over the middle of the field, which I don't think we've seen a whole lot this year, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh man.
What is going to
happen in this game? I don't feel good about it.
You don't?
No, I don't. I think they're going to lose.
Really?
I think they're going to lose this game. South Carolina, I think Sellers is going to probably look a lot better than he should. And I think the weird situation, I hope Mateer plays better, but I don't know, man. It's maybe when we start getting into this, even though South Carolina's defense is not anything special, but it's still fine. It's still better than probably all but maybe one or two defenses Mateer saw all of last season. Are we going to start getting into this SEC schedule and then the whole narrative of like, can he do this through a SEC schedule? Is that going to take hold and he's going to fall off a cliff? I mean, he got hurt against Auburn. He didn't play that great, but he did end up playing pretty well in the second half. He played awful against Texas. Texas defense is good. But now on the road in a tough environment against a defense that is fine and Oklahoma's offense is struggling, I'm not feeling good about it, man. I think they're going to lose. And I think it's going to be probably pretty low scoring, like 17-13 or something, maybe like 20-13. They're 5.5-point road favorite after that game against Texas. I don't love that number. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully they surprise us. And it's exactly what I say about the Texas game. It should be just one game. Flush it. You got plenty of other games to win after that. But I don't trust Brent Venables. I have a hard time, honestly, kind of trusting John Mateer right now after what I saw and like what he's seeing. And I'm not sure if 1 week of practice is going to fix all that ails him. I don't like OU's chances.
Well, I'll balance it out. I think they're going to get off the snide. I think they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be ugly. It's going to be a defense-driven game. Thinking kind of like a 16-10 type win this will be. And I think they're going to force some turnovers as well. So I don't. My guess is that they win, but we somehow don't really feel any better about where things are going afterwards. If that makes sense. So I'll
that makes sense.
I'll split the baby and say that. So, all right. Okay. Well, there we go. They're playing a weird 11:45 a.m. kick, 12:45 local in South Carolina this week. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of curious what that crowd is all going to be like. The cliche with South Carolina is that that's like an obscenely difficult place to play at night, much less so when it's not at night. So, guess we'll find out. We'll see if all the people go to the fair and then make the trek over. See if they're all just kind of keyed up a little bit. Who knows? But interesting. OU going to play at South Carolina is interesting. I mean, that's like one of the promises of the SEC is that we're going to see a lot of brand new matchups, and this is one of them. So I think it's unique, and I'm kind of I've allowed myself this week to get to the point now where I'm kind of looking forward to it. I wouldn't.
Have you looked at South Carolina's schedule the next month?
Is it brutal?
This game on Saturday of the next four they play
LSU.
Is the most winnable. And Shane Beamer, he's a guy that he's on the hot seat, but they got OU obviously. Then next week they got Bama, so they got back-to-back home games, but they got Bama. Then they're at Ole Miss. Then they get a bye. Then they're at A&M.
That's pretty rough. They were picked to finish like 5th in the SEC in the preseason. Like, come on, people.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I need to find I'm pretty sure I wrote down my preseason SEC prediction somewhere, but I knew I was very low on South Carolina. But it turns out I was way too high on Auburn, so I guess that evens it out.
Although I don't know. I mean, I guess we didn't talk about. I guess we'll use this to kind of transition over into our next segment here. Just kind of looking at college football as a whole. Auburn's at home at night again this week against Missouri. It's kind of an interesting game. They're a 1.5-point favorite. Auburn is. Did you watch any of that game against Georgia last week?
No.
It was Auburn was just thoroughly dominating Georgia the entire first half. And then the fumble at the goal line, which was a 14-point swing in Georgia's favor. I mean, and I don't listen, I'm one of those, like, I don't think Auburn got screwed in the OU game. Like, I think like with the hideout player, I think OU genuinely found a loophole in the rule and they exploited it. That whole thing, I don't know what was going on there. Auburn got royally screwed on that. He crossed the plane. That was a touchdown, like, pretty clearly.
Really?
And that lost Auburn the game. I mean, that was it. So that's a game where, that's called correctly. Auburn goes into the break up 17-0 on Georgia at halftime. And you can't miss that. That's about as easy as it gets. And so I feel bad for Auburn. I mean, that was like that game that they lost on Saturday night. That was a lot like the games that they lost last year. And so I think, and maybe with Auburn, it's like, they're not a bad team. They're pretty good. I think that, if they were playing in the Big 12, they'd be legit Big 12 title contenders. But I don't know. It's a league where it's very, very bunched up and they play a lot of close games. And I just think it's been the case in Hugh Freeze's tenure there at Auburn that they just cannot win close games. And it just is what it is.
Wait, I'm just looking at it now. So is the only good angle from the pylon cam on it? Okay, I'm looking at it now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's a touchdown.
Yeah, and they do, like, on the TV broadcast, they take the pylon cam, which is straight down the line, and they zoom in really well. And so,
he's
yeah,
over
I mean,
the plane before it gets knocked out.
Yeah, very clearly.
Huh. Yeah, that's bad.
It was real bad. Real bad. Did you see the whole bit with Kirby Smart calling a timeout, and then they grant him the timeout, and then afterwards he comes and he's like, no, I wasn't calling a timeout. I was telling you that their guy was clapping to simulate the snap. And then they go back and they take away the timeout, but it acted like a timeout because they took a bunch of time to, like, decide whether or not he called a timeout or not. And then ESPN rolls back the tape and there's Kirby Smart rolling over there going, it's just a total joke.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. I hadn't seen it until now. The fact, like, that even whatever. I'm late to the party on all this stuff.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Even if the officials made a mistake, they can't just be like, "Sorry, we made," like, it's like, no, timeout, our bad. That's just the way it is. Like,
it's just
you're calling timeout.
It's another example of. It's another example, and I make this point in baseball all the time. It's just another example of all referees are bad, even the good ones. They're all bad. They all suck at their job, every single one of them, and you just kind of got to live with it. So, yeah, that's one of those things where it's like, because now, like, when you do the replay thing, that, like, we've now seen, like, because with the ACC games that are on ESPN, they now do the thing where it's like you can hear them talking with.
Oh, it's great.
Like, which is great. And I know the SEC. It's not the referees on the field are not watching the replays determining it. It's just a crew out on SEC headquarters doing it. And I think the NFL has done a really good job with, like, their replay stuff and just getting everything right now. It only takes like 20 seconds now in the NFL, and it's just so. And they, especially with the SEC, they got all the money in the world. They need to implement something like that. And it's about what was going on there with, especially with that timeout thing with Kirby Smart. There needs to be someone in that saying, like, no, we have him on tape here calling a timeout. Like, we're gonna just get this right.
Oh,
and it should take 30 seconds. It should take 30 seconds. It's easy. Just there are.
Oh yeah, I wonder if that could be reviewed in the NFL. I wonder if that happened in the NFL. If the NFL would have that same thing happen. I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that's reviewable.
Who knows? But yeah, I thought that was
it should be.
Thought that was
why not?
a very, very silly situation. Other SEC games here that aren't going to be part of our picks. I think Texas A&M at Arkansas is an interesting game. I thought they played that game at Jerry World, but I guess now it's just like
they changed
home
it
and
up.
home now. Yeah,
Finally?
I even double checked to make sure that I didn't. This pretty. I don't have this as part of our picks here. It's pretty easy money line Arkansas pick for me on this. I would, or in the sense that I would not. Texas A&M's a 7.5 point favorite. I wouldn't play Arkansas plus 7.5. I'd just throw money on the money line on that one. Arkansas's offense is terrific, really good, and I think everyone sort of assumes now that Mike Elko I think is calling the defense that Texas A&M's defense has been solved. I don't really think they've played any good offenses really since then. So I'm kind of curious there, but I would kind of throw some cheddar on the money line for Arkansas there if gambling
Mississippi
was legal.
State's got a good offense, don't they?
They do. Yeah, I mean I guess they're kind of functional. I guess I think they only scored like 3 points against A&M. So, but it's on the road, man. And A&M's already gone and beat Notre Dame on the road, but probably not easy to play at Arkansas.
Gosh, yeah, Arkansas is just in free fall, man. But I mean, A&M's got LSU next week, so look ahead spot.
Classic look ahead spot. And
are you sure that it's
yes
that it's not at Jerry World?
Yes.
Wow.
Double checked.
So A&M's
double checked.
A&M has 3 straight road games.
Yeah. Isn't that nuts?
Well, I guess they just played 3 straight home games, so it just evens out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. They get a bye in between the second and third one, but wow.
It's Mississippi State's in the swamp. That's a 315 kick. Florida's a 9.5 point favorite. I don't know. To me that kind of screams Mississippi State win and Billy Napier gets fired on Sunday. But who knows? But also we're in. Actually, I mean, I would have said that we're in Billy Napier's season where he just punches above his weight. But that theory was fatally wounded last week, I think, when they got pantsed by Texas A&M in College Station. Texas only a 12.5 point favorite at Kentucky. Night game in Lexington.
I haven't seen Kentucky play a snap of football this year. I assume they're not good.
That to me, that screams like that's like a 24-3 like win for Texas. And Kentucky is very offensively challenged. Missouri and Auburn, the other SEC game that's not going to be part of our picks that I mentioned. I wouldn't, even with Auburn as the favorite, I would not be confident betting the 1.5 there for Auburn. That would not be what I would prefer. Other national games that are not part of our picks. Nebraska coming to Minneapolis on Friday night this weekly. Play the Gophers. We were in the stadium the last time the Nebraska played at Minnesota. Was borderline unwatchable college football game.
Yeah.
That
we
had
were
an
in the
exciting
stadium and
ending.
then we were out.
That was a. I mean, honestly, the best play of the game was us getting out of there and getting out like right when like the 50+ yard field goal went through. We were we were just blazed out of there. Georgia Tech is talk about betting principles here, Lee. Georgia Tech is a 1.5 point underdog on the road at unranked Duke. I think that's probably you gotta take Duke there. This is a line that's a little iffy to me. Washington's a 6.5 point dog at Michigan. I think I'd be inclined to take the Huskies in that one. And then go to the Big 12. Texas Tech's a 9.5 point favorite on the road at Arizona State. I am at the point now, Lee, with Texas Tech. You just bet Texas Tech against Big 12 teams this year. They're undefeated against the spread. They've killed every Big 12 team they've played. They've killed every team they've played this year. That's where I think you just kind of ride Texas Tech until they give you reason not to. And who I think, like I know Sam Leavitt didn't play last week at Utah. I think his status is questionable for this game as well. I think pretty easy Texas Tech thing. Texas Tech just gonna walk to the Big 12 championship this year. Also in the Big 12, Utah 3.5-point favorite on the road at BYU, who I believe is undefeated this year. I don't really have any thoughts on that game. I think that's a 7 p.m. game. I wish that was the Pac-12 after dark game. It's just a little bit more interesting. You seem to have lots of thoughts on these.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy the last couple of weekends, so I haven't had a chance to watch a whole lot of college football, unfortunately. So,
well,
yeah.
I suppose we will just go ahead and move on to our Week 8 picks then. Lee, you went 3-2 last week. I went 4-1. I have pulled even back to 500, 20-20 on the year. You're 22-18. You're still at a 55% clip, so you're making money for everybody if they're following. Just not a whole lot of money. Not a whole lot of money.
Yeah, with the VIG, we're probably breaking even at this point.
Yeah, it's about even at this point in time. But I feel like I've kind of clawed my way back here. That was a good 4-1 week where the hook saved me last week on a couple of games, in the Auburn game and the what was the other one? You lost this one. It was Alabama and Missouri.
Wait, Auburn covered?
Yeah, it was 13-10. Auburn was a 3.5-point dog. Final score was 13-10.
I thought they lost. Oh, I thought they lost by 10.
Now it's 13-10.
Oh, I thought it was like 20-10.
Or was it? I need to go look. You should go ahead and fact check on that.
You're the guy who's watched a bunch of football lately.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. I'm pretty sure that one was 13.
It was 20-10.
Was it 20-10? Well, there you go.
What the heck, man?
Oof. Oof. So I apologize.
Wait, so I'm 4-1?
You were 4-1.
Oh,
I
really?
was 3-2. Because that's what that means. That was the.
Yeah, I had a pretty good week last week with college. NFL struggling.
NFL
been bad on me this week. Yeah.
So I am not back to 500. I will need to. Wow, that's
I think I got to fact check everything else now.
No, no, you don't need to. No. So yeah, you went 4-1 last week. I went 3-2. Man, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do them.
Yeah, all I lost was Illinois, which I was hoping for a backdoor there, but obviously didn't come.
All right, on Friday night, 6 p.m. on ESPN, Miami, 13.5-point favorite on the road at Louisville. I don't think that's Papa John's Stadium anymore, although it would be hilarious if it was. I always thought that was one of the funny little things.
Hold on. No, I had Auburn too, so I was 3-2.
Are you sure you had Auburn?
Looking at the document right now, it says Aub. Yeah, I mean, I picked Auburn. So
man, we're struggling.
I missed Auburn in Illinois.
Okay, so he still is 22-18. I am sadly 19-21. Did not pull even. It's tough, guys. It's tough out there.
At like 40, whatever the math is, 48%. I don't know.
Oh well. All right, Miami, 13.5-point favorite on the road at Louisville. Sure wish this was there was that extra half point going there, because I think I would maybe be on the Cardinals here. I don't know, man. I think I'm still going to go with Louisville here. Because I still think Miami is. I think Miami's good. I think Miami's good. Clear best team in the ACC. The rhetoric on Miami, I still think, is overheated. I don't think they're the second best team in the country. You telling me that Miami is better than Oregon? No, they're not. Telling me that Miami's better than Indiana right now? I really don't think so. So, I'm gonna take the Cardinals. I
agree.
But also, part of me is like, well, I do not take that program seriously at all. But that's not what we're doing right now. We're just betting the numbers. So I'm gonna take Louisville.
Let's see. It is. I'm pretty sure this game is at Miami. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah, it's at Miami.
Is it really? Gosh, I am a disaster this week. Disaster.
Give me the Canes.
Yeah, I will also be taking Miami.
I will ride Miami until proven wrong. I apologize to Mario Cristobal for dogging him, because he's actually putting together a good season so far. Good for him. So, yeah, I'll take Miami.
All right. In
Oh,
the
man,
SEC,
it's a fun game.
in the SEC, 11 a.m. kick on ABC. LSU is a 2.5-point dog on the road in Nashville, playing Vanderbilt. Lee, I'm not buying this. I'm taking LSU. I can't do Vandy here.
can't do Vandy. Can't. What about your
Can't
betting
do it.
principles, man?
I'm sorry. I don't. That just seems too good to be true. Give me LSU.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Take Vandy.
Give me the doors, man. Give me the doors.
You were on Vandy
Cannons.
You're on Vandy a couple weeks ago when they were in Tuscaloosa, and that did not work out well for you. Although that was kind of a BS cover by Alabama, if we're being totally honest. But
That number tells me Vandy. I'll take them.
I think the number does say Vandy, but I still think Vandy is Vandy's a good team. But it'd be interesting to see kind of what everyone thinks of. I mean, we talk about college openings and stuff like that. LSU loses this game. I mean, that's not going to be the only game they lose the rest of the year. They still got to play Alabama. We're maybe talking about LSU being open too, which means Brian
play
Kelly.
Bama and A&M.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Which means Brian Kelly would also be on the market I think Brian Kelly is right school, right fit would be a really good hire for someone. I think he needs to go.
If he's a.
He needs to go to the Big Ten.
I was gonna say, I wonder if he's a Northern guy because.
I think he is because that was always the bit with.
You got a ceiling with Brian Kelly though. I don't know. Is he a better coach than Brent Venables? Absolutely. But would I be excited if Brian Kelly was the next OU head coach? Not really.
Wouldn't surprise me. If Penn State ends up with Brian Kelly, I don't think that would be the most shocking thing in the entire world. But that's if LSU gets rid of Brian Kelly, which I think if LSU loses 3 or 4 games, that's on the table. If not
on the
likely.
table,
yeah. So probably the game of the week in the SEC or the co-game of the week. Ole Miss, the number 5 team in the country, they are a 7.5-point dog going between the hedges to play number 9 Georgia. Give me the lane train in this one. I'm going to take Ole Miss. I like that hook being right there.
Yeah, I'll take Ole Miss as well. I think bad karma for Kirby Smart with the whole timeout thing. Going to hit him here. And
I like that. I
think Ole Miss at least, if not wins, keeps it close.
Yeah, I kind of like that's a tough spot for Ole Miss. I mean, they're going Georgia, Oklahoma back-to-back weeks. That's tough for them. So, I think if you told Ole Miss fans that you would split those 2 games, I think they'd be pretty ecstatic about that, especially knowing that they went, they're undefeated going into that stretch. Because I do think once they get past that stretch, they might have the most manageable schedule in the SEC remaining of anybody else. So,
gosh. And
Ole
they
Miss
survived the random Washington State trap game last week.
Yeah, weird, huh? Super weird.
Whoa.
Tennessee on the road, also a 7.5-point dog at the Alabama Crimson Tide. Lee, I'm going to take Heupel squad. I'm going to take Tennessee in this one.
I'll take Bama. Bama's good.
I think like Miami. I think Bama's a little overinflated. I think they are. What I'm seeing from Alabama is they look really good right out of the gates in these games, and then they're just kind of hanging on for dear life a lot of the time. They're not very efficient on offense. They go 3 and out a lot, and they can't really run the ball. So Ty Simpson's been really good for them this year, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a sort of weird deal with their offense. They're kind of all or nothing. They've been struggling at times this year, which I don't think a lot of people are pricing that in. So,
looking back, by the way, I mean, I'm the most honest person ever. I was 2-3 last week.
Which one did I miss? What other ones?
Bama was 3.5.
What was the score of that game?
Bama won by 3.
Yeah, I know. I was pricing that in. Did I not?
Yeah, Bama was favored by 3.5.
Yeah,
I took
know.
Bama.
Yeah, I was giving you that loss.
Well, I lost Bama, I lost Auburn, and I lost Illinois. That's 3. Oh, man. I'm almost close to your record. I probably should watch more college football.
Maybe. You should do that. All right, Lee.
Hey,
This
man,
one,
I'm
this
trying
is
to.
an odd line to me. This is a super odd line. USC, number 20, they are 9.5-point dogs at Notre Dame. It's pretty easy USC for me. USC is the best, like by far the best offense in college football. Give me 9.5 points with them, I will take that.
Yeah, this is in the whole. I mean, the subplot of Lincoln and like essentially like trying to not play Notre Dame, like just not liking this tradition.
The last time it happened, remember when he tried to get out of last year's LSU game, and that was a big storyline going into it, and USC ended up beating LSU in the season opener?
That was the season opener, right? Yeah, that's true. That's
Miller
kind of
Moss
interesting.
just looking incredible.
Yeah, the line tells you to take Notre Dame.
I know it
that
does.
is a big number, but Notre Dame's defense is not very good, and man, that is a lot of points. I mean, there's a reason why it's not 10. Obviously, golly, man, USC I think is probably the best team. I guess Notre Dame did play A&M, so yeah, how do you feel about A&M?
I think A&M is a good team, but is also probably a little overinflated.
I don't
Which
like
is
the
why
idea of Lincoln Riley going on the road, but that is a lot of points.
But that's like they just have to win by, lose by 9 or less. Like I still think I still think Notre Dame's going to win the game, but it's 9.5 points for the best offense in the country. Like by a wide margin. I think it's
wild.
like by far the best offense in the country.
Man, no, give me Notre Dame. It's a weird line.
It's a very weird line.
That's a trap.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like SP Plus even has. SP Plus had OU by 7.5 last week, but I think SP Plus actually has USC favored in this game. So,
you want to know where I'm at now? It's a really weird feeling, man. I'm kind of coming like Vinny's kind of Vinny. Like I kind of don't mind Link anymore. I want to see USC win this game. I'm kind of in a weird situation where I'm kind of bitter because it maybe, especially if they win this game, maybe he's learning how to be a head coach. And it's like, oh gosh, why couldn't you have learned that at Oklahoma? But it has taken him a long time, though. It's taken him a heck of a long time. This is like, what, year 8
Same
for
as-
him or 9?
Oh, as just a head coach in
Like
general?
total. Yeah. Probably 9, right? I mean, like 17.
I don't know.
18,
I mean, you
19,
could say
20,
that, but
21,
they're-
22,
I mean,
23,
that-
24, 25. 9, yeah.
And they were up by double digits pretty much the entire game against Illinois, and they ended up losing that game. Like
Oh, they did.
that was
yeah.
that was very Lincoln Riley coded.
They were favored, though. They were a road favorite. And, like, Lincoln Riley was a road favorite. No, thank you. Not anymore. But as a big road dog with a good offense, no expectation. But then again, it is a rivalry game, and Notre Dame's going to want to slap him around for all of the crap about him essentially trying to get rid of this game. So that also is factoring into my handicap with taking Notre Dame.
Yeah. I also think it's Notre Dame is fighting to kind of keep their season alive, their playoff hopes alive as well.
Their schedule is just mediocre.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's where Notre Dame absolutely has to have. Oh, well, yeah, they're not making it with 3 losses, but they're not a slam dunk even with a 10-2 record. That'd be like an interesting decision. Let's say OU is 9-3, and it's like because if OU is going to get in at 9-3, it would have to be they're going against a team like Notre Dame for that final spot. That's what it would have to be, something like that. I don't think OU's not getting in over a 10-2 Big Ten team. That's not happening. So
No.
It would have to be like down to like a 10-2 Notre Dame for that final spot, where you can look at Notre Dame's schedule and you could say, because I think if Notre Dame wins this game, USC, it would pretty objectively probably be their best win of the season. And OU at 9-3 would have, probably a lot of wins to pick from, theoretically. So I don't know.
I mean, they'd have at least probably 3 that look pretty good. What are they at now? 5-1. So they got to win 4 more.
Yeah,
win 4 out of the next 6.
Yeah, their most direct path would be to win at South Carolina this week, and then they just win all their home games, and that would be Ole Miss, Missouri, and LSU. Those, I mean, I think Ole Miss would be a really good win. I think Ole Miss has the inside track right now to be in the playoff. LSU is it'd be something, man, if that LSU game at the end of the year is kind of like a playoff play-in game. Be kind of interesting.
Sure would. Okay.
Let's get out of here.
We're both on Miami. Laying 13.5. I'm on Vandy -2.5 at home. Grant will take LSU plus the points. We're both on Ole Miss. Catching 7.5 at Georgia. I'll take Alabama, laying 7.5 at home against Tennessee. Grant will grab those 7.5 points with the Volunteers. And another crossfire, I'm on Notre Dame, laying 9.5 at home against USC. Grant will take the 9.5 with the Trojans. OU, South Carolina, 11:45. Hope I'm wrong about my prediction. Hope Grant's right about his. But actually, hope we're both wrong in a way that OU wins the game comfortably. And we're like, yeah, they look better. Woo! We'll see what happens. We'll be back afterwards to talk all about OU, South Carolina. So until then, for Grant, I am Lee. This is West of Everest. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the show. And if you want to help us spread the word, please leave us a 5-star review. And also, tell all of your friends who are OU fans about West of Everest. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.